Hi, and welcome. In this series, you are going to learn a total of 5 different tips for different things that you can use within your classroom or your office to help make your life a little bit easier using Autocrat. If you have not downloaded Autocrat, go back to that first video in this series, the introduction video, get that downloaded so we can go ahead and get started. Feedback is absolutely critical for us to become better educators and for us to grow. While it's not always fun to hear things you didn't do right, if you don't ever hear those things, you can never improve. And being able to improve is always what's best for kids. So at my school, we did what we call buddy visits, and we had a QR code posted in the bottom of our door. And as you went in, you scanned the QR code and it popped up to this Google form. In this instance, I think a Google form is easier to do with feedback versus having a Google Sheet and running Autocrat that way. But as always, I'm going to show you both ways. So let's go ahead and take a look. So here is my template that is going to be sent out. So you're going to change your school logo. And here you have all of your tags. You have all the information that we need. So this is what was important to my school. Tweak it to however you need to fit your school's needs. So I'm going to look at the Google form now. So the Google form has the teacher being observed, their email address, so your name. And this is where you got to make sure you're paying attention to what's on your Google form and the way you map it. So these are all the things that are filled in on that template. I'm going to go to responses, and then I'm going to hit my Google Sheets button. So what you're going to see is these are all those fields that were on the Google form. And so why I say that it's easier to do on a Google form this time is what I just told you was having a QR code and being able to pull it up on your phone. It's less distractive. If you go in with a computer or you go in with an iPad, it's just bigger and kids notice that more. They tend to become more distracted. If you go in with your phone, it's a quick, kids are used to seeing phones, so they're not as distracted, but also that it's immediate feedback and you're not wondering, well, how did I do? Well, what did they think? They know immediately as soon as you leave because you press submit. So let's set this up. So I'm going to call this observation feedback Autocrat. So you may be thinking like, well, I already have my own observation tool that we have to use. For us, we didn't use the tool every single visit. We only used it a few times, and we also used this other times. That way it kind of diversified the tools just to make sure there was no bias or anything. Totally up to you. But again, this is better for peer interaction of, hey, my peers come and visit me, and it's not as formal as getting observed by your administrator. So from my drive, I'm going to pick observation. Gonna select it. Next. Okay, and again, it didn't map. That's because I didn't type these in exactly as it appears on my Google Docs template. It's fine. I'm just going to take a second to fill these in. So I'm going to call this teacher your name. No, I'm sorry. Teacher's name that is being observed. Observation feedback. And this is the name of this cell right here. What you want that name. Whatever you want to go here, that's what you're going to tag. So PDF, because I don't want them to be able to change it. So I do want to share this doc because I want them to send an email copy. That way they get that feedback. I don't want them to reshare. I don't want to do a generic reply. So I'm going to put teacher being observed, email address. This was one of my tags on my Google form. And if you don't have this tag in your Google form, as you try to set up your Autocrat, it will say no email address and it will not create it. Just FYI. I'm going to say observation feedback. See attached for your observation feedback. So run on form triggers. This means whenever I press submit on my Google form, it will automatically send. I don't want to send it on a time trigger. So what's going to happen is once that Google form is submitted, this will pop up and your your PDF and email will be sent to that person.